the Knicks, huh?
But the best thing about New York City is
K-N-I-C-K. Everybody say go New York, go New York, go!
Go New York, go New York, go!
Hey everybody, welcome to the New York Knicks podcast, episode 686 out of 686. We got there.
Yes.
We got there.
I know you can't do this, but it'd be great if you could just if you could sell that opening. I think the opening is so awesome. How you cut everything together.
Oh, thank you.
The Knicks should buy that from you.
They should.
They should at least give you they should give me and you, because I need to be included, like the worst seats in the house for one game, just like free seats for that. They should use that. They should take that.
It's like you guys recorded over 1,000 hours of stuff. Yeah, here's like some nosebleed seats.
Here's 30% off a beer.
Against the Hornets.
So what's going on, Jay?
Well, a bunch of stuff happened, of course, since we stopped recording, which is just in true fashion, just Knicks news immediately.
We took a break before we take a longer break. So everyone that's listening, we're recording right now. It is 6:51 p.m. on June 30th. You are probably listening on like July 1st. And you should thank us, because on July 1st, once the show is over, I'm sure Giannis will be traded to the Knicks. And you should thank us for that happening after the show is over.
So if this is your first episode listening for some reason, the day after we record, something major happens almost every single time. So
right.
We're looking forward. I think there is a rumor. So, of course, since the day after we recorded last episode, Tibbs got fired.
I called very early. I called even before the playoffs.
Before the playoffs,
Tibbs was going to be fired.
Yeah, you did. You called that one. You didn't give your golden guarantee, but you still got it right.
Yeah, well, my theory was that they had limited options to upgrade the offense, the roster, and they would fire him. I also though did say after they beat the Celtics that they would keep him. How do you feel about Tibbs being fired?
I'm torn because he was a good coach, and I feel like he got a lot out of the roster. On the other hand, I had a feeling he was going to get fired when he started messing with the lineups, like in the middle of the conference finals.
This was his last hurrah. He knew it.
It just seemed like a panic move. But then when the bench players started playing well, I felt like that's going to raise some red flags when they're like, well, we had these guys on the roster the whole time, and you weren't playing them. And now you're playing them in the middle of the conference finals. I think Tibbs is a very good coach. I thought when they fired him, they had a guy in mind, and apparently they didn't. So that makes, I think, there's a bunch of different rumors. The one rumor is that Dolan got involved.
Before you get into that, I have a question. When other coaches make changes in the playoffs, people are like, oh, what a smart adjustment. He's a really great coach. Mm-hmm. When Tibbs makes changes, they're like, he's panicking. Why is it judged so differently?
Well, I think an adjustment would be different matchups or...
he changed the starting lineup. He went to the different bench players. He tried different things.
He used like 3 guys he hadn't played the whole playoffs. That's more than an adjustment. That's panic. An adjustment's like, hey, I played Mathurin 15 minutes. I'm going to up him to 20 minutes because I like this matchup. That's an adjustment. Or like, we're going to go full court press against this team because we don't trust the other team's point guard.
We're in the middle of the Eastern Conference Finals. DeLon Wright, I know you haven't played in a while. You're the key to us winning here.
Yeah, that really just seemed like panic to me. And it almost worked. It was just... there was a couple of turnovers because they didn't have continuity, and they could have had continuity if they played. So,
I think if DeLon Wright and Landry Shamet play from game 1, they win that series. Also, they took a miracle shot for them to really lose. I think you bring Tibbs back. As much as I predicted him to be gone, he got them to the goddamn Eastern Conference Finals. Furthest they've gone in 25 years. Whatever you want to say about his lack of playmaking, like his lack of having strategic plays, his lack of imagination on offense, the team played their goddamn heart out for him.
So there's a couple rumors. One of the rumors is that Dolan got involved, which
Dolan was in on the they said on the player exit interviews, so he was involved. Mm-hmm. Do we know if Dolan was involved in the exit interviews last year?
I don't think he was, because from what I read, that is not a normal process.
Okay. I mean, he said when he went on the roommates podcast, he said, "All I ask for the GM, Leon Rose,
Mhm.
is tell me what your plan is, and then I make sure you stick to your plan. That's what I'm doing." And so, do you think? I guess you think. Do you think he basically went over Leon's? I mean, obviously he's over Leon's head, but like, do you think he said like, "Hey, I don't care what you think, Leon. He's out," or do you think he just kind of pushed them over the edge? Like
I
Leon was already thinking of doing this.
I'm kind of leaning towards he said Tibbs is out, but the other part of that is they did some player interviews, and
right.
word got out that a few players were not happy with Tibbs and didn't want to play for him. You add that with the fact that you got some contract extensions coming up. Maybe it was Bridges. I think McBride was probably part of that. He couldn't have been happy with his inconsistent and sometimes barely existent minutes. So
Right. Well, his inconsistent play and barely exist. Like he was not great at times. I know people talk about the numbers, the stats with him in the lineup. I don't know. Do you think Deuce had such a great playoffs? Like of all people that could be complaining about, like
no, but I also think
perform better on the court.
I think he had some of the most inconsistent minutes in the playoffs too. It's hard to get
that's
into a groove when you're just like, hey, you haven't played in like 17 game minutes. Go in there now. Like, yeah.
He's their sixth man off the bench though. I mean, or I guess Mitch was six. So like I mean, he was playing. I don't know the minutes off the top of my head, but he probably played 20 minutes a night and then in the playoffs.
I'd be surprised if that was the case. But anyway, I think it's a combination. Some players weren't happy, and Dolan probably wasn't happy. It's just they've now got into the second interview phase with Mike Brown. You usually don't get a second interview unless you're probably getting hired. Does Mike Brown excite you?
Does any one of these guys excite you?
So Deuce played over 20 minutes once out of the last 5 playoff games.
Okay.
11, 18, 15, 15, 25. Like, I don't know, not great. I'm not saying you should be playing 30 minutes. I'm just saying, like, if he's, like, one of your key scorers off the bench, playing him, like, 11 minutes, he's not going to
Okay, hang on. So I'm looking at the Indiana series. He played 25 minutes the first game, 25 minutes the second game, 15, 14, 18, and 11. But you know what the difference was? Starting in, I think, was it game 3 or game 4, they started playing at DeLon Wright and Landry Shamet. So he balanced the bench out a little bit more. But Deuce was playing a lot. The Boston series, 18, 16, 19, 19, 28, 31.
He averaged 19
minutes.
He averaged 19 for the playoffs.
Yeah, that's not bad. You're a bench player. What are you going to average? 19 minutes is a pretty solid number.
It's not bad. It's not bad.
I like Deuce. I'm not giving him like shit. I'm just saying, like, of all people that have been playing by, like, of the bench guys, he should be playing the least, but he got the most minutes of any of the bench guys. Unless you called Mitch a bench guy, which he was, I guess, at times. Whatever. He's one of the main guys we're using off the bench.
Yeah, I mean, everything is speculation and rumors at this point. We don't know who was unhappy. It's just the rumor was there was more than one player who was unhappy. It could have been Towns.
Deuce made some weird comments after the when they got eliminated, and I think that also people felt like the comments he made it sound like he was unhappy.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was him, Towns, and Bridges were all unhappy.
I mean, sometimes a coach just loses the locker room, and that's what it is. And maybe players just got sick of hearing Tibbs' voice and sick of the lack of creativity, sick of whatever they're sick of. I just hope the next coach can get them to play as hard.
Yeah, I mean, Mike Brown, I don't know.
Mike Brown's a solid coach. I mean, he was in Cleveland. Obviously, he had LeBron there. He was assistant coach in Golden State, but Golden State obviously had an amazing talent while he was there.
Lakers.
Lakers
for one season.
Sacramento. No matter what, like, first off, do you want an inexperienced coach or experienced coach? Which is the better option to you?
I mean, normally you'd say you want an experienced coach, but I mean, it depends what kind of experience. Like, a guy could have been assistant coach for 12 years, and then you're like, oh, you're hiring a first-time coach, but he's actually got 12 years of experience.
I'm also just having David Fizdale nightmares. Just thinking, like, well, Tibbs wasn't really a player's coach. Let's go the opposite way and find a guy that the players love. Everyone loves Dave Fizdale, who was just completely inept being a head coach. Dave Fizdale's probably a fantastic assistant coach, not a head coach.
Yeah.
And obviously there are plenty of Nick Nurse won the title with Toronto. Boston has had a lot of luck with first time coaches. So when they fired Tibbs, it was the same time as what's his name, the assistant. Who's the main assistant they were looking at? Donovan Mitchell's old coach, and was with the Knicks. Why am I?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Are we? Can we both not get this name right?
Yeah, pretty much.
I
don't know. What's your point?
Oh, I was just wondering. Johnny Bryant. That's what I'm thinking of.
Oh,
You
okay.
couldn't think of Johnny Bryant's name either?
I wasn't sure who you were talking about.
Oh, well, I said he was remember they fired Tibbs and Johnny Bryant was in the middle of interviews. So it seemed like they fired Tibbs just to get Johnny Bryant, but then nothing that went nowhere.
Oh, yeah.
Have you been paying attention to the Knicks last 2 weeks?
On and off. I've been paying attention to that, picking up Huck Porty's option for $2 million.
That's a good move.
It is. I'm happy with that.
I think Achua's gone. I think Huck Porty is taking over Achua's role.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good move.
I do too.
Achua's fine. They probably could have used Achua in the playoffs, but you have to develop young players and have them come in and take over roles. Huck Porty looked limited minutes because of an injury, but he looked really good. I feel like you bring. I think next season you'd go in there with him being the backup center and have some confidence.
So what are you doing with Mitch? Or are you doing the Mitch
He's the
Towns-
starting center.
You doing
I don't
Mitch
know.
Towns starting lineup, for the whole season?
I don't know what the hell we're doing. Yeah, I guess I would have Mitch being the starting center.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess we don't know what the new coach will want to do.
I mean,
but-
I would do that. It got Minnesota to the conference finals.
Yeah, it just seems like obviously you could switch it up. It just seemed like having Towns at the center never was this advantage that you're supposed to get. If you have an all offense, 3-point shooting, stretch big, he should give you an advantage. And the advantage never seemed to be there.
Maybe that was part of the Tibbs thing. Towns wasn't taking a lot of 3-point shots, and that was the whole advantage. And
Yeah, I mean, I get them going in a different direction. I'm just worried they won't be as good next year without Tibbs. Maybe new coach comes here. Maybe they take a step back in terms of record. Maybe they win 45 games, but maybe they have a run in the playoffs. They still make it to the Eastern Conference Finals or to the finals. The East is going to be goddamn open next year.
Wide open. After Tatum and Halliburton, the Knicks should be...
And Dame is out also. So it's like 3 of the best players in the East got out.
Yeah, the Knicks should be either first or second next season. Maybe Cleveland has another really good regular season, and the Knicks are the 2 seed. Nobody's scared of Cleveland in the playoffs now.
They also lost Ty Jerome today.
Yeah.
And by the way, I'm not saying 3 best. I just 3 of the best.
Yeah.
Dave, I'm just making it all these teams are injured. Detroit, in theory, is getting better, but Detroit lost Malik Beasley. I wouldn't have bet that would happen. Dun-dun-dunch.
Yeah, I think Beasley's career is over.
His career might be over. And he's being investigated for gambling on sports on the NBA. There's some clip of him down 9 with the game over, rushing to score to beat the spread.
With a worried look on his face.
With the worry, it looks so sketchy.
Yeah.
It's also just, I don't know, let's just say you have a gambling problem. Can you just keep it away from the NBA? You're making so much. If you want to be rich, just do nothing but play in the NBA.
Right. He's about to lose out on a $42 million contract. I don't know how much he was getting for the betting, but I doubt it was $42 million.
Right. It would be harder for him to make as much as you would just make as the vet minimum deal is really hard to get that much money in gambling.
Wouldn't it be funny if the whole trial was just that 6-second clip of him going court to court down 9?
Like what the hell are you doing?
The defense
Then
refs.
there's weird clips like this one of Tyrese Halliburton being guarded by him where he just stands there and lets Halliburton go around him.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know, maybe that's just Beasley playing defense.
Maybe, but that court to court was clearly like, I need to get this under 8.5.
He's like, we can have a trial, but I want a jury of my peers. And he just picks the worst defensive players in the NBA, like cats in the jury, being like, I would have stood there too. I get it.
Amari's like, I did that for 5 straight years.
Amari's like, I'm impressed you stayed in front of him to begin with.
So yeah, I think that the top teams next year are probably Cleveland, New York, Orlando.
Orlando got what's Memphis doing?
I don't know. I don't know what Memphis is doing. I mean, they traded Bane. I don't know
Bane. I was referring. They traded Bane. They just re-signed Jaren Jackson to a huge deal today. But like, why would you give Bane? Was like,
I feel like
John is never on the goddamn court. Bane is one of your best players, and you kind of.
I feel like
away to
there was
Orlando.
a lot of second apron moves. Yeah, everyone's just so scared of that second apron. They're making moves that don't even make sense. Utah is the one. They're tanking again. They made another lopsided trade. Like,
what are the Nets doing? I don't know what the Nets are doing.
Yeah.
They have like $45 million of empty cap they can't even use. They're like, anyone want this? Just anyone. Does anyone want this? No one? No one?
I mean, the Jazz traded Colin Sexton for Joseph Nurkic. That is such a huge downgrade. What the hell? They should be investigated.
I don't know. Do you think Colin Sexton was taking you anywhere?
I think he's better than Nurkic. I mean, at some point,
I would say they probably need some size. You could argue.
So you get one of the worst big men in the league?
Sexton is not. He's a solid maybe 6 man off the bench. He doesn't play defense that well. Like, you sucked with Sexton. How much worse could you be without him? You were one of the worst teams in the NBA with Sexton. Are you really any worse?
Danny Ainge is like, hold my beer.
I mean, I guess in theory you move on from some of the veterans because you have other young guys you feel like you want to give those minutes to. So maybe I haven't looked at their roster recently, but maybe they drafted a point guard or a shooting guard and they want to give the minutes to those guys.
Yahoo.
But let's go back. Let's go back to
Yahoo Sports. Colin Sexton trade grades. What the heck are the Jazz doing? That's the subtitle.
Right. There are some weird moves. And Boston blowing it up because Jay sent me a tweet. It was NBA power rankings. Number 1, OKC. Number 2, the second apron.
Yeah, they moved Holiday and Porzingis. So like, the 4th seed could be anybody next season. It could be an overachiever. It could be Philly. It could be Atlanta. Like, who knows?
I mean, it's a good time to try to go all in on a roster because,
if the Knicks are going to go
open.
into the second apron, this is the season to do it. The East
Yeah.
has never been more open.
Okay, the Knicks aren't doing anything, by the way. They're not doing anything big whatsoever. And you know how I know that?
No, how do you know that?
Because they declined PJ Brown's option. If they were going to make any big trade, they might have wanted his contract for a trade. The Knicks looked around, said there's no trade to be had. Bye, PJ.
The Knicks had PJ Brown?
Nice to meet PJ. No, PJ Tucker, sorry.
Oh, I was like, who's PJ Brown? He hasn't played in like 15 years.
They're declining it just because he hasn't been in the NBA for. Yeah, PJ Tucker. If they're getting rid of PJ Tucker, the whole point I thought of signing PJ Tucker besides having a vet in the locker room was to go like, hey, we'll use his contract for a trade chip next year when we want to like. I don't think the Knicks think a big trade's happening.
Yeah, but was it guaranteed by a certain date? Because they might have waived it because they couldn't get a trade done before it was guaranteed.
I think I saw something they had a long time to decide on this.
Okay, I'm just talking.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. What? The thing is, why not just take his contract and try to use it for a trade chip?
I mean, it's 1.8 million. Like, is that really gonna, swing a deal?
I heard that Giannis is worth $1.8 million. I don't know. You just think they would try to basically have as many contracts to trade as possible, where they can aggregate or whatever. I don't know. I don't know why they got the PJ Tucker move in the first place. I guess maybe the whole point was just to have a vet in the a vet presence in the locker room. They thought would be helpful. It was helpful.
That was
made
definitely
it
the whole point because it wasn't basketball on court reasons.
Right, and the Knicks made it pretty far. So maybe PJ Tucker maybe he helped steady the ship.
Maybe he was like, hey guys, do layup lines and give Bridges the credit.
Hey, Brunson, maybe you should go with some ISO stuff and try to do a game winner.
Maybe you guys should all just rotate doing ISO stuff.
Okay, so for the Knicks coaches, it seems like Mike Brown, he's getting a second interview.
Yeah.
There's the guy from Memphis, Taylor
Jenkins.
Jenkins. They're interviewing a college coach.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about the college coach they're interviewing?
That's fine. I mean, maybe they're thinking like, let's take somebody who had success somewhere else and not somebody who has failed here.
Do you think the Knicks are the place you want to hire? I mean, I don't be like people are going to give me a lot of shit for this, but do you really? First of all, a college coach generally the one thing you don't as a college coach, part of your job is being a recruiter. That's not existent in the NBA. Like as a college coach, you can be like, oh, I'm so good because I know how to get the best players to play for this team. That's not part of the job in the NBA. I mean, I guess like in theory, like you'll help like you want players to like you. But the whole college part of like recruiting is not part of the job in the NBA.
Right.
But second, do you think the Knicks should be the first team in the NBA to hire a female coach? Even the most decorated female coach. Do you think that's a good idea?
I don't know. Whoever the coach is, if they don't win a championship, like the fan base is going to hate them. So I don't care if it's a male or female.
You know what's going to happen? The Knicks are going to hire Dawn Staley. And Trump is going to start tweeting about this is the DEI hire, and like the Knicks are going to be like, okay, now the president is turning against the Knicks. This is great.
What do you think of the Kings re-signing Jake LaRavia for 2 years, $12 million? Does anybody make less sense than the Kings every single offseason?
I don't know who that player is.
Exactly.
So Dawn Staley is unbelievably successful. She has said she has no plans to leave college.
Mm-hmm.
But the Knicks are supposedly talking to her about a coach job. I just think the scrutiny in New York, like it's just going to be, like any other organization might be able to pull this off. The Knicks will just be a complete disaster for a female head coach.
It could be.
That I feel like we'll just be set up for just a giant disaster. Like, yeah, I don't know. And at least you might want to like what Becky Hammonds is like. Maybe she would be a better because she's already in the NBA.
She might be. I mean, she doesn't seem to like the Knicks, but it would be interesting.
I don't know. Who do you like for the coaches?
I mean, nobody who's been a long-time coach that is available is really like wowing me. So I was kind of hoping they would do an outside the box, either an assistant or something like that I wasn't thinking about.
It's down. I think it's 100% down to Mike Brown and Taylor Jenkins.
I know. Neither one really like excites me. So I just hope for the best.
I mean, even when Tibbs came here, he failed out. Like it didn't go well in Minnesota. Like most coaches, if they're such an amazing coach, they'd still have a job. But they're all going to come with question marks, basically.
Yeah, although I'm thinking this is the 7th time in the last 20 years a team has gotten to the conference finals or finals and fired their coach. I think there's just that's the way it is with coaches now. You have like if you're really good, you have like a 5-year tenure with a team. And if you're not good, you get fired before 5 years. I just think that's the way it is now.
What do you think of the Knicks' strategy of calling up every other team and going, "Can I have your coach? Can I have your coach?
I thought that was
Can I have your coach?"
That was really funny.
People are like, "Well, they're just exploring their." Are the Knicks really? Do you believe this is really happening? The Knicks are calling every team and being like, "Hey, can we have your coach?" Is that really happening?
Maybe it did. That's not exploring options. That's exploring things that aren't your option. Those aren't your options.
I mean, why don't you call up the Bucks and go, "Hey, do you mind releasing Giannis instead of us trading? Do you mind releasing him? We're just checking. Do you mind releasing him?"
Can we just match salaries? We don't have to worry about talent. We just want to match salaries.
The Knicks are exploring their options. They called the Thunder and asked if they could swap rosters. I don't understand like the Jason Kidd thing. They're like, well, they're still in on Jason Kidd. I'm like, first of all, what has Jason Kidd that's done that's so amazing as a coach that you need to like give up? Like the Knicks will have to give. The Knicks would have to like give draft picks to get him.
If you don't like minutes allocations, look what Kidd did when Luka got traded. He played Kyrie until his Achilles exploded.
Every coach has issues.
Yeah.
So Brown, in theory, an experienced coach ideally has learned from their last job and ideally will improve upon that.
I coached the Kings. The whole roster sucked. I learned so much.
He had a good record on the Kings, didn't he?
Until last season, I believe.
I mean, I gave that. Obviously, he doesn't have a job anymore, but I mean, it's not his fault they built a stupid roster of the Kings. It's not
No.
his fault they traded away Tyrese Halliburton
And Fox.
and Fox. Like,
I
and
read-
now they're looking for a point guard.
Yeah, I read an article they're looking for a point guard. I'm like, oh, if only they had a guy like Halliburton or Fox.
Yeah, I mean, like that would be like too bad you just can't get lucky and get those kind of guys.
That was like Phoenix when they were looking for a point guard when they had like Dragic, Bledsoe, and Isaiah Thomas all at once, and then they traded all three of them. They're like, guys, we need a point guard.
If only we had a point guard. Okay, so if you had to pick in Knicks, and so okay, Johnny Bryant, Dawn Stanley, Staley, Taylor Jenkins, Mike Brown. Who you picking, Jay? Who you picking? Who you predicting?
I guess Mike Brown because he has won. He does
Yeah.
have championship experience.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay, one of you guys play like LeBron. The other one play like Steph Curry. We're good. Let's do it.
I know. Yes, I mean, he was assistant coach for 4 championships and head coach for 2. It's a lot of winning.
Coaching matters, of course. But, like, is this team... How worried should I be? Like, this team performed pretty goddamn well last year. Made pretty far in the playoffs. Did Tibbs make them better? Or are they just this good as is? Like...
Well, I think initially he made them better. Like, when his first year, he took the same roster as the year before that missed the playoffs.
Right.
So he clearly made them better. And
Well, if you remember correctly, though, so the first part of that season was David Fizdale coaching, and the Knicks were like on a historically bad pace. They were just playing terribly. They fired him, and they basically the interim coach was like an assistant who was like a journeyman. I forget his name, but that interim head coach was basically had a 500 record the rest of the season.
that was Mike Malone, right?
No,
Mike Miller? No.
Mike Miller, yes.
Yeah.
Mike Miller, basically, the Knicks were basically close to 500, close to 500 under him. Like, the roster, I mean, he proved right away, he proved pretty fast that, like, hey, the roster's not great, but Fizdale was just a terrible coach.
Yeah.
So, and obviously, Tibbs improved the roster and got a lot out of that. I mean, also, the guys aren't going to stop learning the lessons they got from Tibbs. Do you think they suddenly get work? Like, what happens to this team?
Well, I think it's what we talked about earlier. Tibbs made them better, but he has a ceiling of what he could get out of that roster.
I guess so. Though the ceiling seems to be improving every season. So, but I don't know if it's a ceiling or just like giving up on it. But Jalen Brunson is goddamn awesome. Cat, clearly Tibbs wasn't getting enough out of Cat. He wasn't getting enough out of Mikal Bridges. OG had an awesome season. Yeah, I mean, the team, and also if we get a little bit better of a bench, I mean, like, the bench was just junk last year.
Yeah,
Not junk, but it just wasn't that
It
great.
wasn't
I mean, if you get
great.
a better bench, that makes a big difference.
it does.
So speaking of bench, Jay, would you rather have Russell Westbrook? Would you like to have Russell Westbrook, Jay?
No, I would not.
You don't want Russell Westbrook because he's gonna be a Knick.
No, I saw what you sent me, and if we weren't going to end the show, we were going to end the show if these guys.
Tell everyone what I sent you, Jay.
The Knicks are seriously looking at Westbrook and Jordan Clarkson, and I see a lot of people saying firepower off the bench. Look at Clarkson's shooting percentage and tell me. So the Knicks are just going to be like, I know we built this identity. Let's go all in on guys who don't play defense and have a bad field goal percentage.
I don't want Jordan Clarkson.
No.
He terrible field goal percentage.
Yeah.
He
Last year, he
40
shot good from 3 for the first time in 10 years, so that he'll probably keep that trend going.
If you had to pick your poison, do you take him or Westbrook?
Oof. I think
Our options are pretty limited, because like we don't have money to spend unless you're making a trade for one of the main guys on the roster. Like you have to get a guy to accept like the mid-level, whatever exception was like $4 million.
I think I would take Westbrook over Clarkson.
I 100% would take Westbrook.
I think like Westbrook could do other things.
Westbrook 100% does other things. He
Clarkson
obviously is a
does not.
great passer. He plays better defense. He gets rebounds. He does a lot. I'm not kidding. I don't want Clarkson.
No.
What if we get both, Jay? How amazing would that be?
Clarkson's a career 33.6% three-point shooter. And only a 43% field goal overall shooter. That's no good.
Are you excited, Jay, about Dink Pate? Dink? You excited for Dink?
So basically, the Knicks have drafted every single French NBA player except the good ones.
Should we do the all-time Knicks French player ranking?
Sure.
I think number one is Fournier. Number 2 is me crying.
Yeah.
So this is by the way, this is not the draft pick. Dink Pate. You know he's not. Do you know who he is, Jay?
No,
You thought that's not the guy they drafted at 50th.
Who is he?
Oh, he was an unrestricted free agent. He was an unsigned free agent.
Oh, cool.
So you're thinking of Mohamed Diawara. He was the 51st pick. French dude. Apparently, he's friends with the other French dude in our guy we drafted last year in the first round. They're buds.
Daddy.
Yeah. Daddy. So like, it'll be nice that the French dudes have someone to talk to when they're both sitting on the bench. But Pate, he's 19 years old. He played for the G League Ignite. Remember that whole thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think he skipped college to do the Ignite.
Mm-hmm.
He's 19. He's supposed to be he was like highly rated coming out of high school.
Okay. I mean, you mentioned he was 19 twice before you mentioned anything basketball related. So,
Do you know Frank Ntilikina is 14-year-old still? He's getting younger, actually. That was with the Frank Ntilikina thing. Always like,
he's so
well,
young.
I mean, if he's doing this at 19, I mean, you know how young Frank Ntilikina is? You know how amazing he'll be when he gets to 20? I don't know. He's supposed to be a guy that had some real potential. He didn't do that much with the Ignite, but he's supposed to have like, I mean, these are just like we signed a guy that wasn't even drafted. These are just like lottery tickets. They're just like, hey, maybe he can turn into a solid role player.
You know,
The French dude.
Ntilikina is just about to turn 27. He's entering his prime.
Maybe the Knicks should sign him. They need the guys who play for minimums.
He's well rested. He's only played 5 games in 2 years, so he's probably got some fresh legs.
So Pate skipped his senior year to sign with the G League Ignite in 2023 at age 17.
Why are you doing a biopic on this guy?
I think this guy could turn out to be a solid guy for I don't know. He's gonna play in the. I'm excited to see what he can do in the summer league. Summer league's coming up.
No, you're not.
Pretty soon. I'm excited to see what he can do.
No,
Why
you're not. No, you're not. I don't believe any of this. I don't know why you're doing
I
this.
have pate fever.
I don't know why you're doing this right now.
What? He's 6'7". He was once considered a 5-star high school recruit.
Great.
He was considered the 29th best prospect in the 2023 high school.
His high school?
Class. The dude was supposed to be decent.
He was the 29th best player at his high school.
He basically screwed up by going to the Ignite instead of going to college or having a senior year in high school. But he might be a clever, smart move by Leon Rose, finding a guy that's like, hey, this guy could be like a diamond in the rough.
You don't even believe what you're saying.
I think he will be better than Diawara.
Great. The one guy who's not going to play is going to be better than the other guy who's not going to play.
Are you upset the Knicks took another French student with the 51st pick?
No, this is our last episode. Take all the French guys. I don't care. Have
The
an
Knicks have
entire
a lot of French dudes.
have an entire French bench. It'll
They're
be funny.
addicted to the French.
Yeah, you got alliteration there, French bench. Do it.
That's not actually what the word alliteration means. That was just rhyming, Jay.
Screw you.
He
It's some
signed
it's some
Pate,
form
signed,
of English thing.
and he signed an Exhibit 10 deal. He's expected to join the Las Vegas Summer League team. The Knicks.
You're still going on this?
Well, I think that one of the keys, basically, to getting good going forward is finding a way to find like these guys like this who can develop into role players on the bench.
You've spent
It's
more
not like
time
Ty
on
Jerome was like some big like heralded draft pick.
you've spent more time on Pate or whatever his name is than you did the coaching change or the salary cap. This is insane.
I have no idea if his last name is Pate or Pate, but I like to think it's Pate.
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay, so the bench, I'm predicting Mike Brown, 100% will get the job.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's fine. Whatever, it's fine.
Yeah.
Do you think any of the starting five, the big five, get traded?
Not unless Giannis becomes available.
Giannis won't be available, but yes, I would. Would you do if they're like, we'll trade you Giannis? You have to give us OG, McBride, and Cat. Do you do it?
That's a lot.
Because it's going to happen after the show's over tonight.
I know. Shams did say something big's going to happen tonight or tomorrow.
Yeah, but he didn't say about the Knicks though. He just said stuff's going to happen.
Well, since it's our last episode, you know it's going to be about the Knicks.
It's actually later tonight. They're going to trade Cat for LeBron James.
Jesus. LeBron opted into his $54 million contract, but then his agent
Sucks when you have to opt into that kind of deal.
His agent released some statement that sounded like he was done with the team and he was moving on. So it was very weird.
It's really weird. Also, like he's like, well, I guess we can like stick with like the Luka time. It's okay with me if you guys switch to kind of a Luka timetable. I'm like, then they're trying to win with Luka right now. Like, what's your problem? They got you one of the best young players in the NBA. You should be happy.
It's just funny that they're still doing the LeBron needs more help tour when they got him a top 5 player in the entire NBA. Like, it never ends. This is year 20 of the LeBron needs more help tour.
So
I'm not going to miss
LeBron
that
is-
one that's gone.
Like guys like that also though. LeBron's obviously entitled to the 54 million, whatever. And like if he became a free agent, he's still a very good player.
Yeah.
But you also are as rich as unbelievably rich. I don't need to count your money, but you could have done. You could, if you really wanted to win, you could have declined the option with the Lakers, re-signed with the Lakers for the vet min, or gone somewhere else for the vet min, where you could have a really great roster around you because you're not hogging up half the cap or a third of the cap.
Right.
Like I don't know how it would work exactly with the Lakers, but if he came back to the Lakers for $5 million, I bet they could do something with that money to make the Lakers roster better.
Of course, he wants to make basically the max and also have the best roster around him possible.
And I don't blame him if I had a chance to. If you told me I'm like, oh, I really want to win. Okay, Mark, if you take $50 million, you're gonna destroy our roster. I'd be like, well, it's 50, so we're good. Let's do this.
If I already had like $500 million, I'd be like, yeah, maybe we'll go for the win this year.
Yes. Okay, so I am predicting the Knicks do not make any major moves. I think the major moves are they're going to go with this team. Just going to go around the edges, make the bench a little bit better, and with a new coach and see how it goes.
I think that's accurate. Yeah, I don't think Giannis is getting moved, so I think they're going to try and upgrade the Payne and Shamet spots on the bench, and
Mitchell Robinson is what, and I know he can't stay healthy, but you owe him $13 million basically next year. Are you going to find a better center option for $13 million?
Right.
And if you trade him, what are you doing then? Like then you don't have like your center options are Cat and Huck Porty.
Yeah, no, they have to keep him. So, yeah, I think.
And
it's
then what do
be
you do about McBride? That's not Bridges. Bridges is up for an extension, and you can give him a wacky amount of money. But you could also probably say to him, "Hey, Bridges, we got rid of the coach. We're finding a better coach. Do us a favor here and don't sign for a ridiculous contract. How about 3 years,
90
million?
Yeah, 120 would scare me. 90,
Right,
90, I'd be like, okay, that's fine.
And I like the thing is like it's just that you want to try to avoid the second apron or just go to second apron for a good reason, not just because Bridges needs more money.
Yeah.
Because right now they're locked in for basically $200 million for next year.
Yeah. and that's right where the second apron is.
Is that under? I feel like that's over. I don't know.
I think the second apron is like 201 or something.
Then the following year they're at 167 only because you remove Bridges' contract,
Right.
and you remove I guess Robinson's contract. But then you still would have to. This is also why it's really hard to win without young players on rookie contracts.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at look at the Pacers. One of their best players is Mathurin, who was on a rookie scale contract.
Well,
Made a huge difference.
That's also probably why OKC isn't trading all those picks they have, because once they have to re-up all those guys, they're gonna have to start trimming, the Dorts and
You mean yeah? Okay, say yeah. Sorry, go on.
yeah, they're gonna have to start trading some of those players and replacing them with rookie scale contracts. They can't just keep re-signing all those players and then have like 400 million in taxes to pay. So I think that's why they're keeping all their picks.
I mean, it's not a bad idea. You got to be able to replenish and replace a lot of guys. Obviously, you're going to have to keep paying Shea, but other guys you need to be able to like move on from the role players to replace them with guys that are on rookie scale contracts.
Yeah, yeah.
But like them and the Pacers have actually done a pretty good job on the cap at this point.
They have, but you're gonna have Chet, Williams, and SGA all Chet and Williams are both gonna need big contracts.
So looking at the Pacers, and obviously the Pacers are screwed next year because of Halliburton, and they're gonna have to pay Miles Turner this offseason because he's a free agent. But you had Mathurin, you had Jarris Walker, you had Isaiah Jackson, and Ben Shepherd all on rookie deals on the bench. That's pretty amazing. And also, in fairness, the reason the Pacers have these guys is because they sucked a couple of years ago, and so they were still getting good. The Knicks have been good longer and getting worse draft picks longer.
Yeah.
And then they signed smart deals. Like they're not playing like Naismith. They're paying him $11 million a year. Not a crazy contract.
Yeah. Yep.
And OKC has done a great job. Anyway, the Knicks need young players that they can pay. They need to develop some young players. And we don't have any. Unfortunately, we didn't have a draft pick this year, or our first round pick. Next year, we could have 2 first round picks next year.
Good. Yeah. Depends how Washington does.
The Wizards, I don't know what the hell the Wizards are doing, but the Knicks have the Wizards pick topic protected, and now the Wizards have some veterans on the team.
I mean, they're actually trying to win games, unlike the Jazz.
Right. I mean, also, how long are you going to be bad? At some point, you might want to. I think a lot of teams now are looking at like what Detroit is doing and being like, that's the formula we want. Because there's no guarantee. Tanking is no guarantee anymore. Once you have a couple young players, try to put some vets around them and try to maybe build that way.
Well, as you showed me, there was a 7-year stretch where only like one of the number 1 picks worked out. So like, even if you tank and get the number 1 pick, you're not guaranteed to have it work out.
This is. I'm gonna find this because I sent this to Jay earlier. I looked at Jay was talking about how. What were we talking about? We were talking about DeAndre Ayton being bought out.
Yeah, and I was saying like, what a bad number 1 pick.
First of all, Ayton, for all the Tommy Beer made had a good tweet about this. He's like, for all those people that are saying that we should get DeAndre Ayton, remember he's 26 years old on a team that's rebuilding, and they're paying him $30 million a year not to play on that team.
Yeah.
So he cannot be a guy you want to build around.
No.
But this stretch is insane. 2013, Anthony Bennett, complete bust out of the NBA. 2014, Andrew Wiggins, not a bust, had some decent years.
Definitely not
a major.
1.
He's not. And he obviously won a title with Golden State. I would not say he is even a top 50 player in the NBA anymore.
Right.
Not even close.
Or barely ever was.
Yeah, he's a solid role player now on Miami. I mean, he's a disappointment. 2015, Towns. He's the one All-Star in this group.
Yep.
2016, Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons put out a big. I don't know if you saw the Ben Simmons news.
He's ready.
No. His big news was he'd like to sign a contract for more than the league min. That's what you want to hear out of a guy who's number 1 pick in the NBA draft. That this years late, in 2016, number 1 pick, and he's like now like, I think I'm worth more in my prime than the league minimum contract. In his goddamn prime.
He had a good 3-year run.
2006-17, Markelle Fultz,
Yep, complete
who
bust.
I don't think finished the year in the NBA.
No, I don't think so either.
I mean, he's a guy that you would still like try to figure out if he could play in the NBA. 2018, DeAndre Ayton just got released by a team that says we're a younger rebuilding team and we don't want him.
Mm-hmm.
And then 2019, Zion Williamson, and
Not working out so far. Yeah.
I think Zion's a terrible contract. I would never want him on the Knicks.
That is a rough 7-year stretch.
I mean, after that, it was Anthony Edwards, Cade Cunningham, Paolo, Wembayamba. It got better after that, but that was a rough 7-year stretch.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so we are agreed that the Knicks are probably not going to make any major moves.
Yes, we're agreed.
And our bench is, I guess, going to be it's the same team. I guess you start. I guess Josh Hart comes off the bench for the new team.
Yeah. So, I mean, you do have a McBride Hart bench so far, and then you fill in Huck Porty. Maybe they start peppering in Kolek and Daddier. And
Did they re-sign Delon Wright? I feel like I heard they did that. Or am I wrong?
I don't think they did.
Okay, then do that.
Yeah.
Campaign. Please don't re-sign him.
I don't think we're
Please
going to
don't.
see Payne, Shamet, or Precious. I think we're going to see one new person, and then the young guys, and that's going to be the roster.
Yeah, I mean, like, Russell Westbrook, who can't shoot, would fit in well in the sense of, like, he would be a great facilitator.
Mm-hmm.
I know people want Tyler Kolek to take a greater role, and maybe he can, but we don't know that he's ready yet to do that.
Right.
To be our backup point guard. I would think, and he's also, like, he came out as a senior. He's 24 years old. Like, he should be kind of closer to being ready. But having a vet presence on the team would be helpful, like a Russell Westbrook.
Yeah.
Who was the other player they were talking about? The Washington's old point guard. He was Memphis' old backup point guard.
Tyus Jones.
Yeah, they say he's terrible on defense, but he's like has a pretty good assist. He's pretty good.
His
at
assist turnover ratio is like elite.
Yeah, he'd be a solid guy, I guess, to get. I don't know. We're getting Westbrook's a Knick. I'm guaranteeing Westbrook's a Knick.
Andrew said Knicks signed Wright to 4 years, $95 million. Josh says he misses us and he's looking forward to more Brink. And Oscar said,
Awesome.
Thanks for everything, guys. It's been a pleasure all these years. Go Knicks.
Okay. Do you want to talk anything more about the current? And the current team, there's the other things to hope for. So maybe Daddier becomes useful in the NBA. Kolek looks like he has the ability to develop. They also signed that guy last year. They had that guy McCullough, who was injured most of the year, who people say like will actually develop into an NBA player.
Okay. I mean, there's stuff they can try out.
Yeah, why not?
So I had collected some Knicks stuff that I was going to use for like giveaways, and we never really knew how to have a contest or a giveaway. And
We never knew how to, like, Jay, you had all these things. Like, Jay's like, I had front row tickets. Like, I was going to give away for next season.
No, like little things. Like I have like a Knicks scarf or so anyway. So
I actually have J.R. Smith tied up in my basement, and I'm gonna give him away.
that's where he's been all these years. So if people want this stuff, you can email us nyknickspodcast@gmail.com. And
What were the items?
well, I'm going to list the items so you can put in the email like which item you want and
You're
your
just gonna mail
address.
random people stuff.
I'm gonna mail random people stuff. If more than one person wants it, I'll do a random number generator and we'll have a winner. So I have a Knicks scarf, I have a Knicks salt and pepper shaker.
Why didn't you just give this stuff during the show?
Because what I don't know what to do with it.
We could be like, hey, whoever guesses the number of points the Knicks score this week against Indiana in the playoffs win a Knicks salt and pepper shaker.
Well, I didn't.
That would blow up the internet.
All right, so there's a scarf, there's a salt and pepper shaker, there's a consolation prizes are all the Knicks pens. There's a lot of Knicks pens. So anybody who
Oh my God, the
wants
Knicks
stuff,
podcast pens. Holy
Yes,
crap.
there
I
is-
forgot all about that, Jay.
There is Knicks masks. I got those during COVID, so there's a couple of those. And the grand prize, I guess, would be what George made. He gave me two. I'm keeping one because they're very cool, but I feel like I'd be greedy if I kept both.
There are two hosts and I don't get one.
They're old school NES controllers that plug into USB.
Okay.
But he painted them with like classic '90s Knicks on it, and he has the blue and orange. Like it looks
George
awesome.
gave you two.
Yeah.
And you were like, let's give one away. I don't know who else I'd give. I wouldn't give it to Mark, the other host.
Do you want it?
I don't want it. I'm just.
That's why. You know,
It's
you
not
don't
like
play
you gave me
video games.
3. You're like, there are 2, and there's only one of me. So
Anyway, so yes, so those are the prizes. nyknickspodcast@gmail.com.
okay.
Put your name, what you want, and your address, and I will mail you stuff. There you
Is
go.
there anything else you can give away?
No.
Is there anything else we've done on the show that we can give away? Like, there's not like a.
I have
And do you have any more Knicks podcast? You want to make 20 more Knicks podcast T-shirts?
like 400 Knicks podcast business cards left.
Can you give all 400 away to someone?
Well, I'm gonna throw a handful into whatever package I'm sending out to everybody. So
Could you go around to every Fuddruckers in America and put the
the
business
business cards are basically gonna be like, email us, and you get to throw out the business cards.
Do you want to throw away trash?
I will email you. I will mail you personally Knicks business cards every week for the next 4 years.
You know what's gonna be amazing? When one of the fans emails and Jay's like, "Oh, so it's nice that I'm able to send like the scarf to." It's $37 to send the scarf to Australia.
Oh, they're all going to be in
Holy
Australia.
crap!
They're all going to be in Australia, and I'm going to lose hundreds of dollars. I'm fully prepared on this already. But
Jay's like, I can't believe I have to mail them to the goddamn North Pole. It's like Santa wants this.
I'm glad we saved some Patreon money so I can send it all to Australia.
Oh my god, yeah. I hope. Can you send the chair you're sitting on? Could you make that something you give away?
No, we still have
Only
to,
because I want you to have to figure out how to send a chair to Australia.
we still have another podcast to do, so I do need to sit.
Okay. I'll buy you a new chair, Jay, if you mail that chair to Australia.
I love how all your ideas are just me spending money or doing a lot of work.
Well, it's been a. What else do you want to talk about today, Jay?
Well, I mean, I think we can we could do some thank yous. You know, to the listeners who have
Just do them.
been there.
Do it.
So, I mean, obviously the people who are always in the chat, I want to thank all of them.
Absolutely.
Everybody who's been a Patreon. Thank you for helping support the show. Get Mark a microphone. Get a bunch of pens that I'm just going to mail back to all the Patreons. I want to thank everybody who emails us regularly. There's too many to name by name, so you know, don't get offended if I don't name every single person. But
Was 2010, 11 the first year we did the show?
I think it was 9/10. You know, I think we started
No.
like October of 2010.
Yeah, we started like right. It was right after the decision. Basically, we started doing the show.
Yeah, we did a Brink episode of the decision, and then we're like, we should just make this like the Knicks podcast.
Right. Because I don't think we covered the season with like Eddie Curry and all that, but we covered the following season with Amari. Amari was the first season of the show.
Angel emailed us a link to Casey and the Sunshine's band, the song "Please Don't Go," and he said this song is dedicated to the podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Jorge says, I love how you guys are quitting the show, and whatever black magic you do has eliminated our competition for next year. Tatum and Halliburton the East is wide open. So, yes.
Right. I mean, like we used our black cloud to eliminate the competition.
Right.
We are getting out of the way, and the Knicks are going to goddamn dominate next year.
Exactly. So, yeah, we met a bunch of cool people, even in real life. Met some at Knicks games. It's been a really great experience. You know, Andrew and Anthony, Sam and Phil, and the people in the Discord, which you can still join the Discord. We will be talking. Well, I will be talking to you during games. So,
Is it weird if I just and like when you're done talking, I just say ditto?
you came in like once, like all playoffs, and you just said like "ha," and left again. That was pretty funny.
I'm looking at this in the roster when we started the show. I mean, we had it was a fun roster to start with, like Amari, and you had Felton, you had Gallinari. They trade everyone for Melo, and then we
That wasn't a very happy episode.
we weren't totally against that trade to begin with. You were more against it than I was to begin with.
Yes, I was very against it when it happened.
Then we had some fun teams. I mean, we had Baron Davis for a little while, Mike Bibby for a little while, Josh Harrelson. I'm just looking through the old rosters.
Jorts.
Jorts.
Yeah, I mean it was such a like they were bad for so long, and then we started and they got Amari and they got Mello, and
You
then
got Tyson Chandler. That was a huge move.
and and then Linsanity happened, and then that was like a gigantic. I mean, podcast wise, like our numbers exploded when Linsanity came, and then 6 weeks later when he got injured, and then he was off the team, numbers went down a bit, but
That was a big moment for our show having Linsanity.
yeah, having John Henson on the show from ABC's Wipeout, that was awesome.
Thank you, John Henson.
We got to meet. The Athletic invited us to an event. We got to meet Oakley and Pippen.
Yes.
We got a lot of emails thinking we were the official Knicks podcast and asking us to meet Mello. We must.
That would be great when we get these emails where people are like, "I'm coming in from Germany. My first time visiting. Could you guys help me arrange? We're not. Why do you think we're the actual organization?"
I also don't think if you email the Knicks organization, they're gonna be like, "Oh yeah, sure, random guy from Germany, you can meet Mello."
Yeah, they're like, "Well, you can buy tickets like everyone else. Please don't email us again."
Right.
Do you remember when we believed Cole Aldridge was a good center?
That was a fun 2 months.
Remember we got Bogdani and we were like, "Oh shit." Do you remember we thought Torrey Murray was going to get like, "Oh, we got a young player, Torrey Murray, coming on the team."
I was never Team Tory.
I don't think he barely ever played. Remember when they signed Bino Udry, and they were like, "We're going to do the 2-point guard thing again, so you should join." And then they never did the 2-point guard thing again.
Remember when the Knicks drafted a guy and he shot himself?
By accident, not on purpose. I want to point that out, by accident.
That was the same year that we were rooting for Shved and Travis
Oh
Ware.
my god, some of those two teams got really big. Paddle around, "Hey, I'm gonna come end my career with the Knicks and be a backup point guard. I'm starting, playing 40 minutes a night. I'm sorry."
Remember
Anthony
when
Early was the guy who accidentally shot himself. Langston Galloway, we were like, "Oh my god, we developed an undrafted free agent to being a marginal, the 10th guy on the roster."
remember as soon as we built an audience, the Knicks had a 17-win season.
Remember Shane Larkin? We're like, "I don't know, his dad was Barry Larkin." I mean, like, maybe you need a 5'11" point guard in the NBA. Lance Thomas, we were like, we did like 4 Lance Thomas apology shows. Every once in a while, he'd be like, "Oh, maybe he's not so terrible."
Team captain for like 4 years.
Lou Atkinson, Quincy Acey. Where like there are videos out there of people pretending Quincy Acey was good at basketball.
I got to admit, I was an Amundsen and a Shved apologist.
I was so disappointed when the Knicks didn't bring back Shved the following year.
I was
like, he was the best guy on our 17-win season. Like, bring him back.
Yeah. Remember when the Knicks had a different head coach for like 5 years in a row?
Remember Travis Ware in Game 3 of the season? Shut down LeBron. And by shut him down, he guarded him for one play. And we were like, "Travis Ware, the LeBron stopper."
Then we had the Ron Baker years.
Oh, the Great White Hope.
With Hernan Gomez and Brandon
We're
Jennings
like
popped in for a minute.
Baker's part of our core. Kyle O'Quinn, the cock years.
Noah getting signed for 4 years, 3 years after he was washed up.
Jimmer Fredette, we're like, "Hey, he put up 60 last night in the G League. God, that's definitely going to work out for us."
That was the first Randall the Knicks got, Chason Randall.
Yes. Remember when they had the wrong Greek freak?
Yeah.
Arana Flalo, where we both agreed, we were like, "Yeah, he's a solid shooting guard from Denver. Like, this is just a solid move. This is a good move. Thank you, Knicks organization. They brought on a Flalo. He's going to be our point guard for at least a couple weeks before we find out he's terrible."
Andrew said Mark's still upset Willie Cauley-Stein never made it in the NBA.
Yes. You know who I believed a little? Yeah, I fell for Willie Cauley-Stein. That's true. But when we got him, he was a top 5 draft pick. Derek Williams. you remember when Derek Williams became like he had just washed out on other teams? The Knicks got him as like a reclamation project, and he looked insanely athletic. And I was like, "Holy crap, we found something here!" And we found out then shortly thereafter we found out why it didn't work out with other teams.
Yeah. Yeah. Hernan Gomez's potential.
Jay nailing the Porzingis pick.
Yes.
Called that like a quarter way into the season that the Knicks should take Porzingis.
That was a good one. I'm happy with that one.
Remember Jerry Grant, who was our point guard. We got two good players in the first round. We got Grant, like he's gonna be awesome.
You remember
He's Summer League MVP, I think.
You remember when Inez Cantor, now Inez Freedom, posted a picture of him eating like 5 burgers and he said cheat day, and then he had to call out the next game with a stomach illness?
Remember when the Knicks actually gave minutes to Sasha Vucevic, and we were like, "Holy crap! Why did they keep playing him?"
Then we had all the awesome draft picks with Knox and Frank. And
Oh my God! Just in, like looking at those drafts and like all the guys not the guys you missed out, like you didn't get to, the guys that were on the board and you took those guys anyway.
yeah,
But there are some rosters. I mean, the Joakim Noah thing when we were like he's completely washed, and the Knicks are like, "What if we gave you $72 million?"
So,
He
yeah, I
was
guess.
literally had been washed for 2 years. We got Brandon Jennings too late. Remember Kuzminskis? Kuz. We got him from Europe. We got a European player. Kuz is gonna be so awesome.
What was his total games played? Like 7?
I don't know. Not a lot.
Then they replaced him with Brad Zakis.
Yeah, we had a lot of Willie. Do you remember we did Willie Hernan Gomez?
Yeah.
I remember we were a little bit excited after his rookie year. He looked pretty good. And we did a joint podcast with another show. And the guy in the other show was like, "Yeah, I don't think Hernan Gomez is good." And I'm like, "How dare you say he's not good?" He's like, "No, I'm pretty sure he's not good." And then in like the next season, I was like, he's not good. Shit.
Yeah. Not good at all.
I was like, he's getting rebounds. Yeah, that's not enough to just let's see what else we got in these Rob. We got remember the years of Jeff Hornacek? It might have been 1 year. But he had that hot daughter. We were like, "Oh my God, his daughter." And we had on that team, we got Jarrett Jack. Solid point guard. Courtney Lee. That was another one where when they did the offseason, they got Courtney Lee. You and I were both like, "Man, what a smart signing."
He wasn't bad. He wasn't bad.
He wasn't bad. Didn't he set the Knicks record at the time for free throws in a row?
I think so. I mean, he was fine. I don't know why people hated on him. He was a decent pickup.
He was fine. He just wasn't. He wasn't good. He's fine. Like the Knicks wanted him to be better. You were like, "No." He's like, "I'm just a solid role player. That's all I am." And we wanted more, basically. Ramon Sessions,
Elfrid Payton.
Damian Dotson. If you just give this guy minutes, he's going to be I'm positive. And they're like, "I don't know why the coaches aren't playing him." He's not good. That's why the coaches aren't playing him. They see him every day in practice. They're just not impressed. Trey Burke.
You know, we really gutted this.
How did we keep recording this? On this roster also with Luke Cornett, who's actually supposedly there's gonna be some interest. Boston's gonna have trouble keeping Cornett, which I find shocking.
Yeah.
Moutier, the reclamation project roster.
The fact that we did a show through all of this
is just unbelievable.
I'm gonna pat ourselves on the back for lasting through all that.
Michael Beasley, I still don't understand why his career didn't work out.
I don't either.
I don't understand. Like, he was a walking bucket.
Yeah.
There were times that he looked unstoppable on offense. He's the one guy I just don't understand why he couldn't make an NBA career.
Kuzminskis played 69 games in the NBA. Wow. Thank you, Andrew.
Not for another team, though. Only the Knicks, right?
I think so. I mean, it's probably like 30 seconds a game, but still, he played.
No, I think he played more than 30. He got some minutes. Those teams were pretty goddamn
they were
bad.
giving minutes to anybody.
Yes. Michael Beasley, though. The walking bucket. Let's do the following year we had. We're getting closer to being, bad. 2018-2019 team, 17 wins. Kadeem Allen. Henry Ellison, who I think I would have guessed was a name of a Nick. Billy Garrett. Really names your household names here. Isaiah Hicks.
This feels like the
John Jenkins. Who the hell are these people?
This feels like the auto-generated names in NBA 2K.
Noah Vonleh, who also was nicknamed the Giannis Stopper. Like fans on Knicks fans on Twitter would be like, look at Giannis' stats when he was covered by Noah Vonleh. He puts up like borderline all-star numbers instead of all-star numbers against him. Alonzo Trier, which somehow we convinced ourselves he was the greatest undrafted free agent signing ever.
We forgot about Chris Copeland, the only player to agree to be on the show, whose agent then nixed it, so he never came on the show.
Who also looked like the Predator.
Yeah.
That would have been great if you actually came on the show.
Oh, we skipped over Landry Fields and Andy Rottens.
Oh yeah, they had their own show. They
Yeah.
had those things where they pretended to be Modell's workers at Modell's, the sporting goods store.
Yeah, that was really funny, actually.
That was like really clever. And then Landry Fields became the GM of Atlanta before getting fired.
Yep.
Then we had the 1920 season where things were just getting. We won 21 games instead of 17 wins. Maybe they weren't 500 after. Maybe they weren't quite 500, but they were pretty bad. They were. I would say maybe they weren't 500 under Mike Miller. I remember they were close to 500. I thought with Mike Miller, but that team had
They were 17 and 27.
Brazdikis. Remember Iggy?
They were 17 and 27 with Mike Miller.
Okay, that's not 500, but it was a lot better than fucking what Dave Fizdale was doing.
4 and 18.
Marcus Morris, who had an awesome first half. The Knicks traded him. According to some people on Knicks Twitter, Marcus Morris, that trade led to the entire rest of the roster.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some insane charts out there that
Like, we got this draft pick to turn to this, turn to this, turn to this. Anyway, it's not Tibbs. It's the Marcus Morris trade that got us to the Eastern Conference Finals. Randall's on this team at this point. We got Mad Mitch at that point. Dennis Smith Jr.,
Bullock.
who was in the Porzingis trade.
Yep.
We
Weren't you
couldn't figure
saying
out
you
the-
wanted Dennis Smith Jr. and then the Knicks got him and you're like, okay, I'm good.
I tried to talk myself into dead. That's when they. Well, he looked like a talent. Do you remember when LeBron James, basically, he basically
He was
He
tweeting
went off
about
on
him, right?
he made some comment about how could the Knicks have not have passed on Dennis Smith Jr. They really screwed up, basically.
Remember that?
We screwed up this draft pick, but it wasn't for Dennis Smith Jr.
Remember that moment when LeBron gets a GM role and makes a terrible roster?
He was just he made some comment after a game, being like, "I don't know how the Knicks passing this guy." I was like, well, Frank Ntilikina might suck, but so does Dennis Smith Jr. They're both bad. And the Knicks were like, "What did LeBron say? Let's trade for the guy. Let's trade our only good draft pick we've had in the last 20 years."
Yeah.
Do you think the Knicks, in an alternate reality, should they have kept Porzingis and signed him to a max deal? Would that have worked out?
Probably not. I mean, he's not like a max guy.
No, he's not.
He's good as the fourth or fifth man in Boston. He was good as the third man in Washington.
I mean, he played on Dallas. He wasn't that.
He wasn't
a
good
great
as the
hit in
second-
Dallas.
No, and he was the second man in Dallas. He needs to be third or fourth.
He was decent in Washington. Washington had no roster, and they weren't playing for anything.
And he was still the third man there.
You know who we had in this team I'm looking at? Bobby Portis, who's been kind of awesome from Milwaukee.
Yeah.
I mean, as a solid role player. But that was also when we we have 5 power forwards, and we're going to name no one the starter.
Yeah.
Elfrid Payton.
Andrew said Marcus Morris trade having the pick swap when the Knicks were so much worse than the Clippers, so it was impossible to convey. So
I thought we got a first round pick for him. Maybe there was a swap also. But we definitely got a first round pick for him.
Right.
I mean, that's how we. If we win a title, we have to retire Marcus Morris jersey.
basically, yeah.
Taj Gibson years.
Yep. So it's been
Then we drafted R.J. Barrett, and everything turned around.
Yeah.
I'm gonna name a player, and you tell me if true or false he was a Knick.
Okay.
Jason Kaufman,
No.
Norvell Pell,
Yes.
Okay, that's at the end of my game.
Okay. Andrew said yes.
Norvell Pell, remember him?
There was no, I don't. There was a pick
He-
and a swap.
Oh, okay. Pell got a couple of like blocks, and people got excited about him. Theo Pinson, when we were like, we need to use a roster spot for a cheerleader.
And people were super mad when he got let go.
Austin Rivers, who was pretty bitter about his Knicks experience.
Yeah. He's still talking about it.
Yeah, I mean, it sounded like that Tibbs was kind of a dick to him.
Yeah.
Jared Harper. What was the worst move the Knicks made the entire time we were on the show?
It's got to be Bargnani, right? It was the first time since they got Melo that they actually had some flexibility in cap room, and they traded 3 players and 3 picks for a guy who was about to get bought out.
Okay, so let's do a top 5 here before we even pick it. Okay, so Bargnani's definitely a top 5.
I'm going Noah for the top 5.
Noah, drafting Knox.
And not only that, they ended up stretching Noah, so they ended up paying for like 7 or 8 years instead of just the 4.
I don't think it was 7 or 8 years. Was it 7 or whatever?
Did they stretch the final year out for 3 more years?
Which was really dumb also. Knox.
Yeah, Knox is definitely top 5.
Ntilikina, it was a little more. I mean, obviously it would have been great if they drafted Donovan Mitchell, but most of the guys that took it, like Dennis Smith Jr. wasn't very good. Like it wasn't like you could have taken anyone else besides Knox and nailed that draft.
I'm not knocking him for Frank, but yeah, Knox is up there, and I'm gonna put Obi up there too.
Is Obi worse than Ntilikina?
Yeah, way worse. Ntilikina was like we weren't sure how he was gonna be. Obi, we're we want Halliburton. Like you could go back and listen. We're like, oh cool, Halliburton's on the board, and then they took Obi. So
Halliburton didn't. They said he didn't send his medicals or didn't like work out for the Knicks.
Don't care. This is dumb.
Well, Utah's like, you're not going to work out for us. You refuse to join our team. We're drafting you anyway.
Yeah.
In fairness though, Ntilikina's not an NBA player. Obi is obviously clearly an NBA player.
Yeah, but it's just compared to who was on the board. Like,
I
yeah,
don't know if I
Ntilikina was
want
a
to
bad
put. Okay,
pick,
so
but,
far
like,
we have.
I don't think anybody was questioning.
So
the
we
pick
have
at the
we have
time.
Bargs, which is probably number 1.
Yeah.
We have Joakim Noah. We have Knox, and then so we have 2 spots remaining. You are nominating
100%
Obi.
Obi. Yeah, 100%.
Okay. I'm going to nominate, and I'm going to say this is worse. Hiring Phil Jackson.
That's up there.
A guy who didn't even really want to do the GM job basically anymore. He wanted to be half retired, and we had him take over the organization.
I would also like to submit signing Billups and then using the one-time amnesty on him 6 days later.
Yes. Right. You would have amnestied.
Amari.
No offense to Amari, but
Yeah.
you would have amnestied Amari. You would have had so much more flexibility there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was incredibly stupid.
Yeah.
It wasn't like the Knicks didn't know the amnesty existed.
Right.
It was, why would you pick up his option and then did the amnesty thing happen? Like, was it announced after they picked up his option? I don't remember the events, but
No, the amnesty was there. They, I think they picked up Billups and then somebody they didn't expect became available, and they decided to waive him
Chandler.
instead of Chandler.
Okay, so I would say I don't put Obi on here. I'm gonna say I feel hiring Phil Jackson.
Knowing they needed a point guard and Halliburton was literally next.
I'm not arguing it isn't stupid and inept. Just like Frank Craig, like, there's a lot of stupid and inept things. Hiring Phil Jackson was so much worse. The Billups thing was idiotic.
I'm making my top 5 with dumb at the moment also. Like in
Right.
retrospect, you could always say like we weren't sure Phil was going to be a really bad move. We knew.
Well, at the time, there were people reporting that Phil was not into like doing the job.
Yeah, but we weren't like outraged.
No, we thought we were excited because we bought into the whole like he's obviously like one of the greatest coaches of all time. I bet he'll be good at being a GM. It's just like if you did any homework on it whatsoever, which we didn't know enough to do the homework on it, he was like all in on not being like a full-time like team, like.
I feel like in retrospect, that's a top 5, but at the moment of it happening, it's not a top 5.
The Billups thing was idiotic. The Barks thing was just idiotic. The Knox pick, holy shit, that was stupid. That because I don't think like we were both upset about Obi at the time. I think we were livid about Knox. We were just like his college coach was like he's not ready for the NBA.
I was livid about both because I wanted Halliburton and I wanted Bridges.
I remember the Obi draft though. I remember hearing they were gonna try to trade up to get Obi. I mean, like this can't really be happening.
At that point, I thought it was just parody.
Maybe we remove the Noah contract from this list. I don't know. The Noah contract was stupid.
Well, you could remove Noah and replace it with Phil because Phil's the one who did the Noah contract.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll compromise. Do that.
That's a solid compromise, Jay. I think we're on board here. Then I if you do that compromise, then I can let Obi in. And I agree, Obi is a worse pick than Ntilikina. Even though Ntilikina pick was pretty stupid. The Porzingis trade, is that idiotic? I mean, there was obviously a panic thing. You did not shopping him around was pretty idiotic. I mean, what they got for Porzingis was so little.
Yeah, and I don't want to see anybody's flow chart where they show that it created cap space and they ended up with Randall and Brunson because of it. That's garbage. The actual trade, they got garbage in return. It was a bad trade. I don't knock them for trading him. It's just what they got was bad.
Right, not shopping him around because like also he really wasn't mature enough, and like he probably got more mature over the years, like how they moved on a little bit. He was never going to turn into the star for the Knicks. Just not shopping him just seemed insane.
Yeah,
that would be like just like not shopping Luka. You're going to trade him.
Yeah, yeah.
It'd be that level of stupid. Obviously, Luka a better player.
Yep.
Was Nico Harrison secretly the Knicks GM?
I mean, yeah, it's on that level of bad.
I don't know. I don't know if any honorable mentions here of other stupid moves the Knicks have made. None of the other draft picks were so terrible. I mean, RJ, like whatever you want to say about RJ, like he was the consensus number 3 pick, and he was fine. Like he's obviously an NBA player. It's just
I mean,
the Raptors are hoping to trade him now.
It was a month before we started the show, but signing an uninsured contract to Amari was just up there.
Yeah, but the Knicks were gonna sign him anyway. Yeah, whatever. I mean, that part. I know that part's stupid, but like, if they insured Amari, how does it help Knicks fans?
Well, in his last 2 years, couldn't they have used his when he's like not playing? Couldn't they have had somebody else use his cap space?
The insurance doesn't have nothing to do with the cap space. It just has to do with the team getting money back.
Oh, I thought you could use like a medical exemption. Oh, well then never.
I mean, that's separate from the insurance. The insurance is just like, do I want to insure against this injury? So like Dolan gets money back. I never understood why you cared that much about that. Because I'm like, I don't give a shit if Dolan gets his money back.
You know what? I was thinking of the medical hardship clause, but I think he has to be. The doctors have to say he's out for the season, and I think he played once every couple months, so that they probably wouldn't have even gotten that. So
right, he never was there to getting it uninsured. Like, I mean, it probably wasn't the best move in the world, but like that's really like doesn't help. It doesn't matter for the Knicks fans.
You know how I feel about the Melo trade. I would put that in the top 10, not the top 5. Like waiting 3 months and then signing him.
I still have an alternative. I mean, yes, I agree with you. That part was like. I still can argue against that because you never know what's going to happen. Like you wait, and then he ends up not like some other team trades for him. Like the Nets were obviously like making a big trade at the same time.
On the Nets, and then the Knicks missed out on a 17 and a 223 win seasons. Can you?
I mean, what if the Nets got Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving? How like that would have been like?
I know.
How would we survive
so
that
bad.
kind of shit?
So bad. So
but like,
because
if you thought
Melo with Gallinari and Chandler and Felton, like that would have been a really good team.
I mean, we're just now talking about like how we would gut part of the roster to get Giannis on the team. Obviously, Melo's not Giannis, but at the time we're like, you had Amari. Everyone's about getting stars. It didn't seem like a terrible idea to get Melo. Like we both agreed getting Melo made sense. Just a matter of when you got him and what you gave up for him. And they gave up too much for him. But there's also an alternative history here where the Knicks just don't completely drop the ball about building a team around him.
Yes, but I mean,
if you would just the Billups thing alone, if you amnesty Amari, you could have built a better team around Melo going forward. Melo made the playoffs every year until the Knicks just start shitting the bed with him.
Yes. Yeah. Anyway, so a lot of bad moves.
At least You know what? None of the bad moves were from the last 4 years. I would say last 5 years, but the last 5 years would include the Obi draft.
So anyway, thank you again, everybody.
Thank
The-
you so much, everyone. This has
Really
been so much
appreciate
fun for us to do. We really appreciate everyone like joining us for this.
Our feed is going to stay up. We've explained a few times that we had like almost 300 episodes fall off the feed. The first 189 are on our Patreon. Get sign up for $1, download all of them. I'm not trying to make money from it. I'm just, if anybody wants to listen to them, it's got the whole insanity and the mellow trade and all that stuff. If anybody is interested in episode 190 through whatever is missing on our feed, I will upload them. Just email us nynixpodcast@gmail.com if you want.
Hey,
those.
this is not a Knicks news, but I have a big trade for you, Jay.
Okay.
Not big, but like semi decent trade. The Nuggets traded Michael Porter Jr.
Oh, okay. For what?
They traded to the Nets for Cam Johnson and a 2032 unprotected pick. Or no, it was sorry, the pick is from Denver to the Nets, but they traded for Michael Porter Jr. for Cam Johnson. That's an interesting trade.
Yeah, I feel bad for Jokic.
Why who won that trade? I feel like maybe like doesn't Denver win that trade?
It's
Because
close.
Michael Porter Jr. can't seem to stay on the court.
Yeah, it's close. I mean, Cam Johnson I think is overrated, but Porter Jr. is always injured, so
And Porter Jr. plays. I don't know what Cam's defense is, but it can't be as bad as Michael Porter's defense.
I think it's a fairly even trade.
Brooke Lopez signs with the Clippers. The Bucks are over. 2 years, $18 million.
The Bucks are gutted. They're absolutely gutted. Harden.
Karis LeVert and the Pistons agreed to a 2-year, $29 million deal. Karis LeVert just took away someone's money.
Sorry, Beasley.
That's definitely Beasley's money.
That's Beasley's money.
Luke Cornett. Okay, how much money do you think Luke Cornett got?
2 years, $20 million.
4 years, $41 million. And
Okay.
who do you think signed him?
The Hawks.
Spurs.
Okay.
The Spurs had. By the way, the Spurs. Why are the Spurs not going all in right now?
They are. They got Luke Cornett.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, do you really have a lot of faith that Wembanyama is going to have a long career?
Right.
Like, he's awesome. I would start trying to. You have draft picks. I know you just also just got like a top number 2 pick in the draft, but I would try to. If I was the Spurs, I'd be like, let's speed this up because our timeline, like, we might Yao Ming this soon.
That 2 years, $81 million for Harden cracked me up. Guy crapped
D'Angelo-
the bed in the playoffs again, and they gave him an extension.
2 years, 80. Yes, that was still not as bad. Like, he's still more productive than Paul George, but yes. Ty Jerome, 3 years, $28 million from the Grizzlies. That's going to hurt Cleveland.
Yeah.
I mean, he was one of their best players off the bench.
Yeah.
Okay, what's your prediction for next season, Jay? And are we ever going to do another Knicks podcast?
We might. So this is the official end, but we're leaving the window open. If we feel the urge to, or if something big happens, we could pop on. Don't expect the show weekly. I don't even expect the show monthly, really. But you may. hear
Jay's
from
never
us
going to talk to me again.
You may hear from us again. We will be doing our comedy show, The Brink of Sanity. You can check that out, brinkofsanityshow.com or Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube. And I started a horror movie podcast called 3 Basket Cases, the number 3 Basket Cases. That one is not with Mark, but I just started
Unironically,
that.
Jay has moved on from the Knicks to a horror movie podcast.
Yes. So, we recorded 2 episodes so far. We're doing Hereditary next week for our 3rd episode, so you can check that out, the number 3 Basket Cases.
Will you be ever doing an episode from one of the Knicks 17-win seasons as for an episode of the show?
Too scary. So, you have anything else you want to?
I think that's it. Yeah. Thank you guys. It's been great, and we'll be back on our Brink show and maybe a Knicks show at some point. Yeah, if anything major happens this offseason, maybe Jay and I'll get back on the air.
Yeah. But, can't thank you all enough. You guys kept the show going the last 5 years, to be honest.
The last 14 years.
Yeah. Around 2019, we were really like, I don't know if we could go anymore. And then we'd get emails and we get messages. And so
Jay gave up on the show in 2015.
Pretty much. So yeah, thanks again, and we will talk to you at some point. Take
We'll
care.
be back soon.
All right. Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye, everybody. It's all over. Goodbye. It's time to go. This is the end. Say goodbye. You better go away. I'm gonna leave you. It's the end. Goodbye. Goodbye. Just leave me alone. Feels so good to say goodbye. I'm sick and tired and I'm saying goodbye. Goodbye, girl. Goodbye, 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 everybody.
All right.
And we're done.
And scene.
Nikhil Alexander Walker to the Hawks for 4 years, $62 million.
My Wolves friend's gonna be pissed. The Hawks are making some decent moves.
They're making some moves. They have if that French guy can get better, they could be decent.
Yeah. Yeah, we're we're ending the show like just as all these moves are happening, so you know there's going to be one that we're going to want to talk about.
You think so?
Yeah.
I don't think the Knicks are doing anything.
I think they're
I
going
mean,
to
obviously, I could talk all day with you about the moves that are actually being made, but like, I don't think the Knicks are doing anything.
they're going to do something just because we're done recording. I don't think it's going to be huge, but I think we're going to be like, oh, they got this guy.
Westbrook is going to be a Knick. I feel like he's willing to be a role player at this point. They might get Clarkson also. Maybe look at both of them.
Yeah.
I don't think they can even afford to get both of them. I don't even know how.
Well, if Clarkson gets bought out, they could get him for like.
He's bought out. I'm saying like, I don't think they can afford. I don't think they can afford 2 vet minimum deals.
Oh, really? They're that close? Well, maybe they go over now because this is their all-in move.
We saw Jordan Clarkson on the board, and we had to go to the second apron for him.
Right.
Hopefully, they're a fun team next year.
Yeah.
The Nets, though, what the fuck are they doing?
I don't know. They're a mess.
Like, can you imagine you sign Kyrie and Durant, and your future is this bleak? What do you think? You think Houston's going to be one of the favorites of the West?
Yeah, I mean, they got better and they were the second seed. I don't know how they're going to do in the playoffs, but they're going to be a top 3 in the West again.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Durant's going to have. I mean, like Durant obviously is still an amazing player, and then now he's surrounded by guys that can play. He's surrounded by a full team now.
Yeah, if Durant's healthy, they're going to be really dangerous. We'll see what happens.
Phoenix, what in God's name are they doing? Also, like Phoenix, like we may have got rid of Durant, but we got both centers from Charlotte.
Gotta grab all the players from that 12-win team they had.
The Hornets, I mean, like they just had that center combination. We got Nick Richards and we got the other guy who the Lakers were like, second thought, he failed his physical. Are you sure about that? He failed.
Hornets are the worst run team in the league for like 20 years in a row.
I would 100% trade LaMelo. I couldn't. If I had to say like one player on one team, if you had to say like what is the number one guy that should be traded by their team? The guys here, you like LaMelo. I think LaMelo's. I think he's just never going to help you win. Get rid of him. He still has value. You put Zion up there, right?
Yeah.
And then guys, like obviously Embiid, like you'd want to trade Paul George, but his contract's probably hard to move. Bradley Beal, obviously you'd want to trade, but guys who could actually get value should have still value.
Embiid's probably impossible to trade.
Zion already has lost a lot of value. You're not going to get as much for him anymore.
Yeah.
You could still probably get a lot for LaMelo.
Yeah. Yeah, I would sell high on him.
You think you can get a lot for Zion anymore?
No. Nope.
The Nets are like, we'll give you like 12 picks for him.
I'm going to shut the live room. Thanks again, everybody. And yeah, check out the Brink of Sanity. Check out 3 Basket Cases. And I'm sure we'll pop back in at some point. But
yes.
yeah, definitely not for the rest of the summer. But
no